Madam Chair, we are live.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody. This is the open meeting of the Design Review Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Design Review Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the Design Review Committee members to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberation of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to the Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The meeting will not feature public comment. Confirming members' access. The chair myself confirms that the board members and persons anticipated on the agenda are remotely present and can be heard by stating the following. As I call out your name, I want you to affirm that you're present. So Dave Veron.
Here.
Okay. Lisa Maselli.
There.
Diane Nicholas.
Here.
And Tom Reardon.
Here.
And myself, Michelle Gillespie, here. Meeting business ground rules. The chair will cover the ground rules for effective and clear conduct of the meeting business as follows. For the presenters and/or applicants listed on the agenda, the chair will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Participants will provide their full name and hold until their name is called. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Those responding will be asked to wait until the floor is yielded to them by the chair. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others do so through the chair, taking care of identifying themselves. Each vote taken by the board or committee will be conducted by roll call. So I think we're about to begin the meeting. So on tonight's agenda for the meeting, we're starting at 6 p.m. Thank you we're starting a few minutes late, but we're okay. And we're going to start with 56 Hudson Street, where we have Peter Bemis presenting.
No, the 56 Hudson will be Tom Reardon, Randy Waterman.
Okay.
And Tom, who's the third gentleman? I'm sorry.
Matt Pisani from Maytech.
Okay.
Okay. So is everyone in there? I see that we've got Tom. I see we have Randy.
Yeah.
And then do we have Matt? Okay.
Yep, Matt's in. Matt's
Okay.
connecting.
So I can see everybody in now. All right, Tom, I'm gonna pass this over to, I don't know whether you're going to start and lead or Randy or Matt, but I'll put it over to you guys.
And then, Tom, you first need to recuse yourself as a member of the Design Review Committee for this particular discussion.
Yes. Well, I recuse myself because I am the project architect for 56 Hudson Street, Maytech Corporation. So we would like to start with Randy Waterman presenting the site plan for the renovation, demolition and renovation of a portion of the Maytech facilities. So if Randy is here, he has drawings, I believe, that he's uploaded.
Randy, which would you like up first? The,
Kathy, Randy's he's having some trouble connecting with audio, I can see.
oh, okay.
Do you have the site plans there? I could start with the existing conditions.
Okay, let me.
Randy, are you there?
Okay, wait, this is just gonna take me 1 second, Tom.
I'm not going anywhere.
Let's see, Maytech. Okay, so do you see that? Does everyone see that?
No.
No, you didn't share it yet, Kathy. You're gonna
Oh.
select it and then click share.
Okay, wait, let me. I did practice this, everyone. All right, so Dave, when I have, I'm just looking for my share button.
So the application should be open. Go all the way down the bottom of your screen and you'll see share right in the middle of the screen. It hides when your cursor's up out of the way. So move your cursor all the way to the bottom
Okay, wait, now I've lost everyone.
because you minimized it. So go down the bottom of your screen. You should see something that looks like a little camcorder. You should hover over that and you should be able to bring yourself back up.
Kathy, if you want to email it to me, I'm happy to share too,
Okay,
if that's easier.
Have you gotten us? Did you everyone back up yet?
no, I can't get everyone back up.
Okay, go down to the bottom of your screen. Can you see the
Yeah.
little thing looks like a camcorder?
Yeah,
Hover over it.
yeah.
You should see two windows. One should be a blank window. One should have everyone's picture on it.
No, all I have is your host picture.
Okay, so click on that and then click full screen. Then up in the upper right corner, there's a thing that says speaker view or gallery view.
Okay,
Make
now
sure
I have
gallery
everyone.
view is picked. There you go.
All right, I have everyone back. So I hit share screen first.
Hit share screen first. It'll open a window.
Okay.
Then you select the thing you want to share and then click share.
Oh,
Yay!
Okay. Do you?
Zoom 101. So I have that set of plans, Tom, and then I have a couple other ones that Randy just sent today.
Yeah. Put up Randy's site plans, please.
Kathy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Excellent. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Okay.
Okay, so now are you all seeing the site plan?
Yes.
Okay.
So Randy,
Do I have,
I was going to have you start.
Yeah, sure.
explain
This is the existing conditions plan for the property. And I sent over the proposed plan that shows the changes, which they are minor from a site plan perspective. But essentially, the property is located at 56 Hudson Street. And the primary work is on the long building that is directly adjacent to Hudson Street. It's about 15 feet off the edge of the pavement. And you can see the building on this plan. It's the long linear one that is, like I say, parallel to the street. There are a total of 3 buildings on the site. There's a large building south of this main building that we're talking about. That's kind of an odd, I don't know what shape, amoeba shape. And then there's a small rectangular building in the center of the site. That's the tallest building. That building is, I think, 34 feet tall in total, 35 feet high. So primarily the building we're talking about is on Hudson Street. And you can see there's a dividing line and not quite in the center of the building, but just a little to the east of the center building. It's just to the east of the label that we say existing building. From there to the west, to the end of the building, to the west towards the river, that's the part that is being replaced. So if you go to the second drawing we sent, that one exactly. So that one you can see on that plan, we're showing a new footprint for a building that is directly over the existing building. And so that existing section of the building is the blue metal frame building that you see when you drive down Hudson Street. And that part of the building is currently 2 stories tall. And the proposal is to remove that section of the building. That portion of the building is approximately 40 feet wide by 175 feet long. So it's about just under 7,000 square feet in footprint. So it's currently 2 stories. We'd be removing that section of the building and adding a new building in the same location that is 3 stories. And the whole purpose of that additional space is really to make the operation on site much more functional. And I'll let Tom talk about that in more detail. But they're not planning on any new employees on site. There's no additional parking required on site. Basically, the existing employees will have more workrooms, workspace, break space, containment space, that type of thing that they haven't had in the past. And then I just want to point out, the only addition on the site that's just outside the footprint is on the south side of the building. You can see there's a little rectangular bump out, and that section of the building is about 10 feet wide by 100 feet long, just down to the south of your cursor there on the south side of the building. There's a little strip between the 2 buildings that is currently crushed stone, and that section is going to be covered by the proposed building. So in total, there's essentially no change in the impervious surface on site, and there's no additional pavement or parking shown on the project. It's just basically to create more efficient space on the property for the owners, which make precision testing equipment. And out on Hudson, on the Hudson Street side, there is currently a loading dock on the sort of northwest corner of the building. That is a 90-degree loading dock to the building that's been there for years. So people have to come down Hudson Street and turn back 90 degrees into the building right now. And the proposal that we have is to add a little niche to the building shape there so that trucks will at least be able to pull a little past the loading dock and back in at a diagonal to that loading dock. Therefore, they will not be directly crossing the traffic and blocking traffic, essentially. That loading dock is used for smaller trucks. I think the 20 and 25-foot box style trucks for smaller drop-offs. So we thought that was a better solution than having the current 90-degree angle to the street. And that is primarily it, I think, for site changes or improvements. We didn't propose any new landscaping just because the inside of the site is not changing at all. And the only side you really see from a public way is on Hudson Street. And as I mentioned, the building's about 15 feet or 14 feet off the property, off the pavement on Hudson Street. And as you come off the pavement, there's about a 3 or 4 foot wide grass strip. Then there's a paved sidewalk. And then adjacent to the building, there's about an 8 or 9 foot strip of grass. And in that grass, there are quite a bit of utilities, post indicator valves for the fire department, hydrants, utility poles. There's a lot going on in that grass strip now. And, with the salt spray and everything and the plowing from Hudson Street in the winter, that section of grass gets really abused. So we did not propose anything. There's a possibility maybe do some small foundation plantings or something along the building there that probably we could get them back far enough from the building. But that the section that's being retained of the building is a nice brick facade, and there's a number of windows in there. So that there's really just not a lot of opportunity. That's probably why there's never been any landscape other than lawn on that side. But that was really the bulk of what's proposed, and certainly Tom can describe the building in a lot more detail than I can.
Okay, so to give you a little context, some beginning of the 19th century, Cold Harbor Brook and the Assabet were both frequent sites for multiple factories, tanning, brick, and in this particular site, it was a comb factory dating from the 1840s. Walter Bush, then Walter Farwell, and the current building that's being demolished was built by Farwell for the manufacture of combs, and it's a heavy timber frame, so it's over 100 years old. And one of the reasons that Maytag Instruments wanted to demolish this was to get a more efficient, energy efficient, programming efficient building that would allow them to spread out so they could manufacture the machinery that they use. And what we're proposing to take down, if I can show you some photographs. Let's see.
Tom, I also have, I don't know if this is helpful.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go through the, I mean, so there's 3 pages that you sent us, but
Well, I'll just give you, some of the viewers might not be familiar with the building. So if I hold these up, the brick building is remaining. The blue portion of the building is being demolished. Now the first floor is about 4 to 5 feet below grade at Hudson Street. So what you see from the street is a 1.5 stories, but there is a 2.5 story section at the far end of the building. So there is some portions that are, for example, there is a portion of the building that is 3 stories, about 1/3 of the existing structure. Yep.
Are you able to use the annotate function in Zoom? Because I think it would be helpful if you could somehow, highlight or point out what you're talking about.
What's the annotate function?
So at the top where it says view options, and then you click annotate, or you can also request remote control just so you can use your mouse, but annotate lets you draw lines and boxes and whatever. You can just use the mouse.
Yeah, he's not going to have the ability to do that unless Kathy gives him access.
No. Okay, I think.
Okay, one
see
other.
my mouse?
This is the, Randy mentioned the loading dock. This is the existing, which is on the face of the building over near Cold Harbor Brook. So it's pre-existing. We like to continue to have a loading dock on Hudson Street, but we configured it differently in order to make a safer approach. So can you see my cursor?
no.
No, okay. So on the first floor plan is at the bottom of this sheet A1. Hudson Street is notated and the bottom of the sheet. So basically this is fronting the street. There's no access from Hudson Street into the main building as we're proposing it. We are cutting a section out about 10.5 feet wide between the brick building and the new addition. And that's where you'll see some stairs going down on the left. That would bring you down to the first floor level, the slab level. That's accessible from the back side of the building, but the building is not accessible from Hudson Street. This is really not a public way. So what you see on the floor plan is basically an expansion of the assembly areas, offices, 2 sets of stairs, and an elevator. The Hudson Street elevation, we are using a more current metal building system, which is insulated panels. And we're going to use 3 different colors. So the bottom band is a dark gray, a light gray, and the windows will be blue. This is the profile of the bottom section. It's an insulated panel. So it'll have a ribbed look.
So Tom, is that this area?
Yes, exactly. And it'll be in this color, show and tell. So it's a dark gray. So it's like wainscoting. The upper body is also, this is an insulated panel. It's kind of an embossed surface. And
that's what all of this is?
that's the upper section. And the color is the light gray. And the windows are going to pick up on the color of the existing metal building in the rear. So the windows and some of the detailing will be in this blue. So we're using 3 colors to kind of break up the elevation.
And the blue is up here?
Nope, you won't even see that roof because it's, you know, it's 35 feet up and it's 1 in 12 pitch. So it'll be a membrane, rubber membrane roof. So you won't even see that.
So where is the blue? This
Blue
is dark.
The windows and probably the gutters will be the blue that matches the this existing blue.
Oh, okay.
So we are tying into the assembly building behind, which has this metal panel. So we're picking up that color and using it as a detail rather than the predominant color.
Can we go back to the roof for a second? So the sort of lines that are shown are not, it's not like a seam or something. It's just the membrane. And then what about in the loading dock roof? That one would be more visible. Is that the same material?
Yeah, well, right now we're planning on having a membrane roof on that as well. Here's a little scale model. So
Okay.
here you could, this building, this is the brick building. Everything's probably backwards. This is what we used to do 40 years ago. We used to build models.
We still build models.
Okay, so this is the elevation. There's the roof. You hardly will see it. This is what you're going to see from the road.
Got it.
And there's the little loading dock on the end. So that's a little sketch model. There is a possibility we could maybe make that loading dock roof in blue, a metal roof, because it is at a steeper pitch than the main roof. We haven't discussed that. We do have proposed signage there on the main elevation. That bump out houses the stairwell and the elevator on the far left. We do have a sign which we would be proposing. It would probably be externally lit. At this time, we might have lighting over near the loading dock, and there might be some lighting in the soffit overhang, but there's really no intention to have a very prominent lighting system for this elevation. Kathy, could we go to the other elevations that they won't be visible from the street, but we can at least review them? Okay, so the west elevation on the left faces Cold Harbor Brook, and just across from Cold Harbor Brook is another building. So you'll hardly be able to see that. The south elevation is the portion that fronts the rear parking and delivery space, and also where you'd come, you'd have to drive up to gain access for handicap accessibility at that elevation. And the east elevation is like what you'd see in the alleyway between the existing brick building and the new building.
Okay.
So that's the 4 exterior elevations. And we gave you the materials. The last page has a little bit of color to it, so you can see the dark gray at the bottom. the light gray in the main body, and the blue around the windows and doors. As you can see, we're going from elevation, I think 258 to 260. So the grade is sloping down as you come from Main Street.
Is the building required to be accessible on the exterior?
Well, it is an accessible building, and we will have an elevator, and we're going to have handicap accessible restrooms on each floor, but it's accessible from the rear, which is
Because the grade change takes.
right. We're a half a flight down from the roadway.
Right, okay.
So we're coming in from the, what you'd consider the back. So any questions for us?
Hi, Lisa Maselli. Just a quick question on the loading dock now that you're putting it at an angle coming into the building, so it's easier to access. How much grass area are you losing there?
Well, if you can see from this photograph, there's about a patch of 7 to 8 foot wide grass between the building and the sidewalk. So I don't know, 150 square feet, 200 square feet of grass.
Because if you're looking at the lower schematic at the angle that comes out, it looks like it would take at least 3 of those blocks for the vehicle to be able to back in and out. Is that correct if I'm looking at that? So it almost looks like it takes off half the grass?
Well, no, those, if you look at the first floor plan, the column lines are 20 feet on center. So if you, maybe 30 linear feet at the longest to the property line.
And part of that area, the part of the area just to the east of the existing loading dock is already crushed stone and gravel. There's not even grass out there. That's shown on the existing conditions plan and on the proposed site plan.
That's where the original trucks would roll into, over?
Yeah, you could, if you look at this photograph, I don't know how clear it is, but you can see in front of the loading dock, it's paved now. So you don't have grass there anyways.
Right, but that's straight on where this is coming at an angle. So you don't lose. I mean, my only concern, the building is fine, but my concern is when you're walking on Hudson Street, that you don't have a lot of space to walk on that the sidewalk that you're on. You almost rely a little bit on that grass area in case it fell over or something. You know what I'm saying? It's quite a busy street, and you have to cross over after this building or in the middle of this building to the other side by where the waterfall is.
Well, there's paving all the way from River Street till Cold Harbor Brook on this side, correct?
Can we look at the existing site plan? Is that possible?
Yep.
Thanks. You might have to zoom in to that area.
And Lisa, when I don't know if it's just on my end, but if you can speak louder or turn up your volume.
Okay, I think it's because I'm so far away from the computer. I had to use my desk to be able to see the stuff. So if you can't, can you see my cursor? No.
No, you could only my cursor.
Can you zoom in on that area, Kathy?
On the left, yeah. Okay, right there. Yeah.
Wait a minute now. Oh. Now
You're there.
That's
yeah,
good.
That's good.
I can't get any. I don't know why, but I can't get in any farther.
That's okay, that's helpful.
Yeah, that's
So again, we're talking about right there.
Right. So from Cold Harbor Brook, it's paved from the edge of the Cold Harbor Brook. Then you have another section right in front of the loading dock, and then you have another gravel patch
And then
before
the
you
sidewalk.
get to the telephone pole. So That's the area where we're proposing to put the new driveway.
Perfect.
Now, can you kind of show me where the crosswalk is?
Well, it's right at the edge of the roadway. There's, see the double line? That's a curb.
But where-
Lisa,
Yes.
I think in order for us to hear you, you're gonna have to move closer to your microphone.
Let me see if I can. I'm not gonna be in the, but let me just let me look at it from here. So if can you hear me now better?
Little bit.
Yep,
Right. So if I'm looking at this map and I see the 39.26 feet in the left-hand corner, it says bit concrete.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that that's from there, if you went straight or if you went west,
Left. Yeah, to right.
you would be, that's where the crosswalk starts, is from there over to the other side where the brook is, or where the waterfall is.
The former waterfall.
Oh, it's not there anymore?
No, it's not there anymore.
Really?
Not there anymore. No, it's there's some concrete and
That-
there's no waterfall.
Okay. All right, so
The pond has, pond is emptied.
the pond is empty. Oh dear. Is that gonna come back?
No, the dam, deteriorated.
Oh. So there's no, this is probably not even to part of this, but I've always wondered, how does the water go under the building and then take a turn, a 90-degree turn to go down to the other area?
Well, there's a large concrete plank deck
Yeah.
over Cold Harbor Brook that spans between Matex building and the building on the other side of the brook. And you can see it on this drawing here, where you says invert 25175.
Yep.
That's the end of the concrete plank or cap. But our new building is pulling away from that.
Oh, so it won't be on top of it at all?
No, we're pulling back about 15 to 20 feet,
Yeah,
going to the right.
well, that's a good idea. All right, well, that's my only thought process, is that it is hard to walk there with safety in that grass that we do have in front of the building. It's not a lot, but it's nice to have that just for a little bit of a buffer.
Well,
But
There will be more grass because we're eliminating two sections of bituminous concrete and one section of gravel. And you'll be able to put the sidewalk back, and then you'll have a diagonal 30-foot long access to the new loading dock.
all right, sounds good. Okay, thanks.
I had another question about the loading dock area on your elevation. Is there some kind of bumper against beneath the opening at the dock?
Yeah, there'll probably be a rubber bumper.
Okay.
The loading dock floor is level with the second floor of the proposed building.
Okay.
okay, so Tom, you sort of, in your presentation, which was done well, we went through and you pointed out the lighting, any additional lighting that you'd be having on the site. You pointed out that you're not gonna have signage, or it's gonna be a limited signage right around one of the entry points.
Well, on the elevation, it showed a small signboard at the bump out on the right side where the stairwell is.
Okay,
And we would obviously permit that as a sign permit.
okay. And
That's the
Dave,
only one
Dave,
wall
Ver-
sign.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Dave
No ground
Veron is
signs.
our landscape person, and so I think you'd agree, Dave, that's very limited area to even consider landscaping. There's not much there.
Not much to do, and I think the grass, losing it in the game for the FedEx and UPS and changing it that way is a massive gain. So I think what he did is fine. There's
Yeah.
nothing for me to do here.
Okay. And I don't know how the other board members feel, but Tom, nice color selection, nice
Thank you.
design. I like it a lot. So kudos to you for that. I like it very much. And does anyone else have
I
any
missed that
comments
blue,
for
right?
the,
Yeah.
yeah, except for, any other comments from the board members?
Michelle, can I just clarify
Yeah.
a couple things for all of us? Randy, if I remember correctly, you're going to request a continuance. This is before the ZBA. So Randy, I think you already did. You sent me an email yesterday requesting a continuance to October.
Yes, I wasn't sure of the date of it, but we're still addressing the comments of the Groundwater Advisory Committee, and so we'll probably have that information back to them next week. So I
Okay.
don't know what your timing is that we would have to get something to you for the ZBA.
Yeah, I mean, you have plenty of time for the October. I think it's October 27th is the next meeting.
Of the ZBA.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I know that this will, be covered in more detail by the Zoning Board of Appeals. But Randy, if you or Tom, if you could just speak to, I believe that Fred Litchfield, the town engineer, sent a comment letter about the location of the loading dock, or the degree at which the trucks are going to be backing up on Hudson Street.
Okay, sure.
Could you just address that?
Yeah. I mean, as I understand from Tom, that there was a meeting that he had with Fred some time ago. And at the time, as I understand, Fred agreed that doing something to eliminate the 90-degree parked vehicles was an advantage. So I'm not sure if maybe he forgot about that meeting or just didn't recall the same thing, but that was the plan, was that right now, the building, as I mentioned, is about 15 feet off the edge of pavement, and they get 20 and 25-foot long box trucks in here. So you can imagine when they're turning out, crossing both lanes and backing in, and even when they're parked, for a while, they're out in the street itself. So it is an unsafe condition. It's been there for so many years that nobody's changed it. So now, if they're changing the building, now is the opportunity. And you can see the angle of the loading dock shown here that's shaded slightly. So now a truck coming up, instead of having to back or to pull straight across both lanes and back into the building, now he can stay over in the right-hand lane completely and do a small turn to back right up to the loading dock. And then the entire truck is off the paved way, which doesn't happen right now. So it's definitely a huge safety improvement. And the loading dock has been there for as long as the building, as far as I know. So it's old and grandfathered, and I think this is the best way to correct it.
So
Okay.
right now, it's at a 90-degree angle, and the truck's back in off of Hudson Street.
Correct.
And by bumping out by bumping it out here,
Yep.
the intent is that the trucks traveling north
Yes.
on Hudson would,
They'd stay right in their own lane that they're in currently, and then just back right into that loading dock, and then they'd be off the street completely. See, right now, when they're coming from the center and coming into this loading dock, they come down and they turn, and they have to essentially cross both lanes of the street right now to back into the 90-degree. And then often they're it's only 15 feet from the pavement to the building face, so they're sticking a little bit out into the street.
and how often does that loading dock get used? I mean, is it, once a day, 5 times a
2 or
day?
3 times a day, possibly. But usually it's like the UPS or FedEx. It's any larger tractor trailer type delivery comes in the back off of River Street.
Yeah, Tom, the idea, hi, I'm Matt with Maytech. And the idea is that would be basically solely for FedEx and UPS deliveries, the smaller trucks where they can come in and out quickly. That's not for large deliveries that are going to be there for an extended period of time. We'd still use the driveway off of River Street for any larger vehicles or anything that's going to require being stationary for any period of time. That's solely for quick drop-offs.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Michelle.
So do any other board members have any other comments for the applicant?
I think it looks good.
I think it's the best looking commercial building, that type of building we have.
And the color's
Don't make
nice.
his ego too big, please.
Yeah, easy, easy.
Okay, Lisa, do you have any comments?
It's fine, I like it, you know, I don't think there's anything else we can do with what he's, you know, done with the roadside. So no, I think it's fine. I like the colors and have at it.
I'm thinking Lisa said she liked the colors. And this, and she's good with it.
Okay,
And have at it, she said.
yeah. Okay, so Kathy, do we need to do a vote at all on this or?
Well, you know, some indication, I mean, I'll send you a draft memo, but, you know, just a vote tonight. I mean, if you're ready to vote, a vote tonight saying that, you know, either you agree with the materials in the site plan as presented, you know, something to that effect. You know, I'm understanding, I mean, my understanding is that, you know, you're not looking for them to come back to you.
No, right, that's true. Okay, so let's do, I'll do a roll call vote. So everyone can say yes or no. And the vote will go that we all agree with the materials that were presented and the site plans presented by the applicant here tonight. And these will then be forwarded on to the ZBA as they're going before the ZBA in October. So having said that, Dave? Do you agree?
I agree.
Approve?
Approve.
Thank you. Lisa? Lisa agrees and approves, okay? Diane?
Agree, approve.
And I agree and approve. So thank you for the applicant. We appreciate it. It's going to be a good looking building. I like the colors. And you're all set. On to your next board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
So the time now is 6:50 p.m. and we have 50 Southwest Cutoff as our next applicant. And that would be James Tatro, Tim Shea, and Nick Muskoff. Is that correct? Okay. And they will be added on and then we can,
I do not know which one Mr. Shea is. I have 4 phones left and no identifying on any of them.
Once Nick connects, we can ask him which phone is Tim Shea's. Hey, Nick, can you unmute and let us know which phone number belongs to Tim Shea? Because we don't see his name. We just see phone numbers and we don't know which one is Tim's. What's the last 2 numbers of his?
2131.
So Dave, whoever.
No, I haven't. I have one identified as iPhone, 2 with the last 3 digits of 531, and 1 with the last 3 digits of 148. I can bring them in one at a time if you want, and we can remove them back out. That's probably the easiest way.
Maybe the iPhone is who Tim is.
That might be his.
We'll find out.
There he is. That would be Tim Shea.
Okay, so I think we have,
James, I think, is still connecting, Michelle.
right, James is connecting. And who will be presenting tonight? Will it be James, Tim, or Nick?
James.
Okay. So let's give James a minute to, he's trying to connect on his audio.
Yeah. Let me,
Looks like he connected, but he's on mute.
I asked him to unmute. He didn't, so I don't know if, looks like he's on a phone, so I'm not quite sure. James, if you can hear me, you may want to go out and come back in and we can try that again.
can everybody see a site plan?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure if it's the one that he wants to start with, but at least we got that up.
Let's see. Nick or Tim, do you have James's cell phone number that you can text him and see if we can help him here?
That's what I was just going to suggest. If you can't get in, probably the best thing for him to do is to just call in and participate that way.
Yeah.
I don't ever text with James. I don't know if he texts. No.
I just had a new phone. I have, again, 253, a 53 and a 531 and a 148.
Is there a 6151?
Nope. I only see all I can see are the last three numbers
Yeah,
of each phone number.
I only have office phone number for him.
Dave, do we want to bring in everyone who's there to see who's out there? And if they're not part of this team presenting, then we'll put them back out on and not in with the meeting.
Can't hurt.
Yeah. Can you identify yourself at 531?
This is James Tatro.
Perfect. We're looking for you. Welcome.
I've been here quite a while. I
Yeah.
spent a very long time on hold and not able to see or hear anything.
Okay. So hold on for a minute. And who is 148?
Hi, this is Bill Poutre.
Oh, that bill is for the next application, 399 Hudson Street.
Okay, Bill, we're going to put you in the waiting room for a little bit while we finish with this applicant. And 531 seems to be twice, which seems to be James up there. Okay, James, we can see your phone, but not your face. So if you want to start presenting.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. The application in front of you is for 50 Southwest Cutoff, which was formerly Del Greco Masonry Supply. And the site is on the west side of Route 20, almost opposite where King Street, the upper intersection of King Street with it. It is bordered to the north side by number 38 Southwest Cutoff, which is a commercial leasing space that the applicants also own. There is wooded land behind it, and you have to go about 600 feet behind this property to get to the homes on Buck Hill Road. And to the south is a residential lot owned by still the Del Greco family. On the opposite side of the street is the Cromaro Tarpaulin Company. So that's to give you some idea of the context. And the site has been used by Del Greco, and part of it is paved, and there's a small structure up front, a bigger building in back where I guess they used to shape blocks and things. And although most of the blocks and stuff is off the site. What the applicant wants to do is take advantage of the previous use to grandfather in the contractor yard use and construct two buildings, one of 7,000 square feet more northerly, a larger one of 9,600 square feet facing the road. And these two buildings would be used by contractor yard sort of businesses, electrical, plumbers, people making tiles, different things of these sorts. That's their experience at their property in Sterling, which was built similarly. And what we want to do with the landscaping here is to mostly to take care, especially to shield off the backs of those buildings, because these buildings are going to have front entrances, which would be there'd be maybe an office there, and there'd be parking in front for employees, and a back entrance with a higher door, a garage type door, for a truck to be parked out of view, and for whatever they're doing to unload or load in the back there. So if you look at on the colored landscape plan, the 7,000 square foot building, the more northerly of the two intended, we've got the back of that one, we've got some planting along the corner of the property and along Route 20 to shield the view of the back of that. The larger building, the 9,600 square foot building, the back of it would be out of view. So the other primary focus of the landscaping here is to shield that building and activities from the Del Greco residents immediately to the south. We're going to take the land in front of this, the rise off of the Route 20 curb, and we're going to actually flatten that out a little. It's mostly about a 2-to-1 slope. We're going to flatten it out to 3-to-1. We're going to make most of that lawn. I wanted to also point out especially that right now there are two entrances onto Route 20 from this property, one up by the north end of the frontage opposite King Street, and one on that landscaping plan, almost if you look at the label in the street of Southwest Cutoff, almost opposite the word cutoff. And we're going to close both of those up. We're going to move to have a single in and out egress and ingress point right at the south end of the frontage, because that gets us the best sight distance. We're going to have 4 lights proposed on site, besides some wall packs in front of at each door, front and back of each of these units. And I should point out that the initial intention is that each of these buildings have 4 cells or 4 possible leasing spaces. Now, somebody could come up to them and want to use, 2 or even 3, who knows, even 4 cells worth of space. So it may get divided differently, but the initial intention is to divide this such that there are 4 leasing spaces. And each one would have its own door, front and back. And again, we're proposing wall packs over each of those doors, front and back. And 4 poles, one near the entrance, one there's sort of a projection the farthest west, if you will, away from Route 20, projection of pavement off the back left corner of that larger building is to be a pole. There's to be a pole off the back of, let's call it the northwest corner of the smaller building, and one more pole in to light area between the 2 buildings. So we had submitted with the site plans a photometric plan showing what is to happen there. But So we also propose a sign, I should note, by the entrance. It's immediately to the south of the pavement edge there. And that's intended just to have a line or a with indicating each of the businesses there. If it's so-and-so HVAC, there'll be, their own slot there. What else? I guess that's the primary thing. I just want to mention, to say that our biggest focus was in planting trees was to shield the backyard, the back of the smaller building, and to shield the residential abutter to the south. And just the orientation of the larger building sort of takes care of that. And what you see on the land plan, I should also point out, we already did the soil testing for a septic system, and we would have a septic system off the pavement behind the larger building. You probably see what looks like a hatched area to the north or behind the smaller building. That's all the drainage is going to be collected, run through a CDS unit and go out to infiltration there, and it only will overflow in the 10-year storm and bigger. So right now there's no drainage on site. There's nothing. So we're collecting it. We're not going to make any connection to Route 20. We already filed for a Mass DOT access permit. We got back I think it's the 25% review is what it's called, and had just a couple small items. We're going to get that back to them pretty soon. So I don't think there are going to be any issues with Mass DOT. They looked at our single entrance, where it is and the site distance, and they've in effect signed off on that. Just had a couple small things they want us to change. So I can tell you that there aren't any big changes from Mass DOT in the offing. And again, just to circle back, our biggest focus here as far as the landscaping is to do some shielding of backyard and shielding of the residential abutters to the south. But I'll try and take any questions that you have. And I should add that if Nick Muskoff is on the line, he can give you some background about the two buildings and their construction and the materials.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we typically have a list that we're going to go through, and thank you. I know that you encompassed a lot of it, the lighting, signage, and landscape in your presentation, but we'll probably just go down and just start with probably the site plan and where the buildings are located and positioned, and see how the board members give you feedback on that. And then we'll go into the other details like the lighting, signage, and landscape as we move along. So why don't we, as the board members know, if you're not speaking, you probably want to be on mute. I'm looking at a lot of people, they're not on mute because I'm hearing a lot of background noise. So if you can do that, that would be good. And then, so we'll just go through and let's start with our two architects first. Let's start with Tom and then Diana. We'll move over to Dave and then Lisa. And let's just talk about what we see before us right now and then feedback for the applicant. And we'll put you on the hot seat, Tom, and start with you.
Thank you.
Michelle, Tom, actually, just before you do that, can I, just let me know which plan that you want up.
Okay.
It's which plan the applicant. I mean, we as staff and the board don't know which one they want to refer to.
Yeah. So let's start like with the site plan and the building right now and keep these plans up. And then when we move over to lighting, signage, or landscaping, we'll let you know if we have to switch off to those plans. Kathy, how does that work?
Okay, yep. And then I have the, the schematics that they did, for the elevations.
Okay.
So hi, Jim, this is Tom Reardon. I'm looking at the grading plan, not the one that's on the screen, but that's fine. But it indicates that the larger building, the finished floor is 368 and the smaller building is 366. So I believe that's 6 to 8 feet above the southwest cutoff generally.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
So we'd be looking up at these structures.
Correct.
And
although I have to say, for instance, if you look in the area of the of the larger building, the south end of it, the grade actually is 374 right now. So we're actually, you're right, we are looking up, we're actually, we cut it down to make it as reasonable a driveway entrance as we can.
Okay. On your grading plan, there, right near the Business West and RC zone, it
Yep.
says there's an oak. Are there any trees that are remaining, or everything is going?
I have to say, there will be some that can remain in the area. If you're standing in Route 20, looking at the larger building in front of the right front corner, because there's an area there where there's not too much grade change. It's actually sort of between the two buildings. If you were standing between them and you walked out towards the Route 20 curb, when you got to just about the right-of-way lines, almost sort of before the drop-off, there is an area of trees there that can remain.
Right.
Others, though, yeah, that particular oak may be able to stay because the actual proposed grade change is very small, and we could probably not do it exactly as shown on the grading plan. But yes, several will be taken out, and that's just in the course of getting that grade on that slope overall down from 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 to something that's going to be a little more comfortable for grass and for mowing long term.
So what I'm getting at is, I'd like to see if we could get additional buffering along the southwest cutoff to screen the buildings by either using berms or additional plantings or something, because my suspicion is that contractor buildings, they're probably metal buildings, and they're not the most attractive. And anything we can do with vegetation or earth berming to screen between Route 20 or the southwest cutoff and these structures would be helpful. The fact that we have 6 to 8 feet of elevation change is a bonus. So saving any trees would be helpful as well.
Okay, I understand.
And what's the percentage of the impervious surface on this site?
Oh, I don't have the number with me. Right. We are slightly increasing it there because there is, I mean, though it's old and alligatored now, there's it was very much paved before, but we are increasing it some. I don't unfortunately have that number right with me. I apologize.
So the point is we have metal buildings and a sea of asphalt.
Yep.
On a very prominent access point to Northborough. So to mitigate that, my recommendation was to reduce how much you can see of these buildings.
Okay, but my one response there is, though, is I understand a contractor's yard use is not the prettiest building, but it also is somebody who's it is a commercial enterprise. They do to some degree want to be seen. So while I understand that these won't be the prettiest buildings, I think I might push back just a little and say, but we don't want them to be invisible either.
You're not attracting the public to this site. This is storage for vehicles and equipment, not necessarily operating a business.
True, and that's largely the case. I'm just always thinking of the applicant not wanting to be, like I say, invisible. That's all.
James, can we ask you to speak up too, please?
Sure. Sorry. So, anyways, Tom, I understand you're looking for additional buffer along the Route 20 front of the property, and we may be able to identify some of that with just trees that are going to be kept. Again, I think that specifically that one area I was describing, and maybe in fact, again, also that one that noted as a benchmark, that oak, that's probably in a location where it can also be kept because that grading plan notes that the benchmark elevation was 370 and change. we proposed a grade there of 368 and change, and they typically do put those benchmarks about 18 inches, 2 feet up. So it's probably only a difference of about maybe 6 inches from the exact intended grading here would leave that alone.
Okay. I see you have an 8-inch line coming in for fire suppression. Is the intent just to have fire suppression at the large building, but not the smaller building, or both buildings?
I think the larger building reaches the threshold for requiring sprinklering, but the smaller building does not. We would
Okay.
also have a hydrant in there on site, just before that line gets across the inner curb.
So the sprinkler room would be inside the larger building, not bumping out?
It would, excuse me, it would bump out the northern side of the large building.
You need to represent that, Nick, on the site plan.
It's drawn on the site plan.
Is that that little
That square is 10 by 10,
Yeah.
10 by
Yeah,
10
that's the
square.
little
in the building.
square,
Okay,
the little square off the middle of the north side.
all right, it's just not hashed in. Is
Yeah.
it? It's not on the
I was
building.
just trying to indicate that that was not a full height as the rest of the building is.
I see. It's on the floor plan, but not on the building elevations. Okay. So you'll need to represent that.
Isn't it on there? On the,
on the
what's
floor
called the
plan,
front elevation on the,
On S2,
yeah.
that one right there, yeah.
S2, we have two S2s.
There's two
So
buildings.
one building is one S1 and S2, and then a different building is also an S1 and an S2.
I see, I get it.
Yeah.
I had the wrong S2. So those are the questions I have regarding the site plan. If anybody else, Diana.
Well, I would agree with your comments about that buffer with southwest cutoff. Are there a lot of trucks that would be coming in and out of that drive? I just wondered about the left-hand turn onto southwest cutoff as being a little tricky for trucks, but.
Well, if I may, that's why we made sure to move the entrance here. It's the single best spot for sight distance.
Because you can see a ways up, well, towards the north, right? If you're sitting there waiting
Yeah.
to turn, you can see.
And to in the other direction, you could see using the obviously a truck would have the drive would be much higher up, but we use the standard, the height of an object. The driver's eye leaving is 42 inches high. The object is 51 inches high. In effect, the roof line of a car. And you could see, I believe, was it Lexington Road is the road that's coming in on the east side of Route 20, just downhill from here. I think you could see a vehicle there, which was enough for this 50-mile-an-hour speed. So it was pretty good.
Okay, so it sounds like you looked at that. I guess in terms of reviewing the site plan, it's helpful to see what the building floor plans are. And these are just steel drawings, right? Is it just literally wide open?
They will be
Well-
wide open spaces, yep.
Like there's not even a restroom or anything in the building?
No, they will have a single restroom in each unit.
I mean, I guess I'm just accustomed to seeing floor plans when we're doing these design reviews. So, because I think it's important to understand the way that the site is relating to the way that the building functions.
The buildings will be designed to either be occupied by one tenant or up to 4 tenants per building.
This is really just the building shell.
Yeah,
And that's all you're going to permit it initially?
it'll probably be permitted as 4 separate units, but this is our first design review meeting, so these are just our preliminary drawings.
So you're going to show materials at a subsequent meeting? Material samples?
Yes.
Okay. That would be
I have
good.
some samples you could borrow, Nick.
Yeah,
Do you like blue?
no.
So I think those were the only comments I had on the site plan.
How about Dave?
Okay, I got a lot. I agree with Tom, hands down. Coming into Northborough, you're coming past the Wegmans Plaza, you have the nice dental office, and then coming into this. The landscape design here, yeah, it needs a lot of work. You're dealing with a large metal building in a sea of asphalt. The landscape that's been put in here needs a lot more thought because you're dealing with metal that gets hot in that sea of asphalt that gets incredibly hot. And the plants have to try to survive after the 1 year in there in a very difficult environment. And there has to be a lot of thought given to that, as well as long-term looks is when it's going, you know, cars are going by here. We do need to kind of hide this without a doubt. And right now, this is kind of like, hey, we have a splash of color or planting here, splash here, a couple in a row over here. On the second building, the 140 by 50, we got on the left-hand side. I don't know if they ran out of ink and didn't continue going up the left-hand side, but there's not a lot of thought to this. It's just someone puts stumps down and it doesn't flow at all. It kind of go back to the drawing board and kind of go to it again.
Can I ask what you when I'm a little confused about something you just said. You
Yep.
mentioned about the left-hand side on the smaller building, and I'm not sure what you were saying there.
There's a planting on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Looking at it on the screen and, you know, what do you have? Like a bunch of MOs.
Mock orange.
Mock orange.
Yeah.
And after the mock orange, what's going on there in that corner? The rest of the corner around the building there? Doesn't make sense.
Well, that once you've gone that far around the building, it can only be seen if you're driving. Can't be seen from off-site, essentially.
Hey, Dave, what about shifting the landscaping budget from away from the buildings down along the southwest cutoff?
Front, yeah, exactly.
I mean, if these are going to cook next to the building,
Get them in the front.
yeah, take all that stuff and put it along the lawn area.
Put the money there. Change the plants. Get them to the front. You know, something along the front, the whole entire along the southwest cutoff. You know, that's where it has to go. Because I mean, I hate to see, you know, you got contractors, you can get cigarette butts in there, you're gonna get everything else in there. Stuff is gonna fry. And I'm sure you're not gonna do any irrigation in there, are you?
I don't believe we plan on doing any irrigation.
Yeah, I mean, this stuff's gonna cook.
So, David, what's the mature height of the white fir they're proposing?
Depending on the variety, but those will get pretty big. You're talking, could be 30 feet more.
Yes, 30 feet or more, depending.
Yeah.
And they start out at 2 inches. How long does it take to get that high?
Cool. Some time.
Way past my time, right?
That's mine too.
All right.
I mean, there's a lot of, this is going back to the drawing board, unfortunately, in my opinion. This all has to go back. This needs a lot of thought. You know, that whole berm for the southwest cutoff needs to be really reworked. And I feel this has to get pretty well hidden because, you know, you can have a selection of dump trucks. You know, as a contractor, I mean, you look at those metal buildings, they're nothing great to look at. You know, you do the front of them, and I think they should be hidden from the southwest cutoff as much as possible. Again, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Lisa?
Well, can you hear me all right if I speak this loudly?
Not
Mhm.
really. I think you need to Come closer to your microphone.
Okay, girls and boys, here we go. Now can you hear me?
No.
No.
Wow, I'm like 2 feet away from the computer.
Uh,
All right, there is a lot of going back to the drawing board. I saw photographs of superimposed buildings. Is that correct? They were white?
Oh, yeah, let me see if I can find those, Lisa. Those were buildings that well, I'll let Nick speak to that, but they were from another site.
It was a project that we just finished in July in Sterling.
Yeah, let me see if I can find those. Go ahead, Lisa, if you want to talk while I,
Okay, so if you look down at the lower part where the line changes from Business West to RC, and the building goes through that line. What you're doing is you're trying with a pre-existing contractor's yard to try to keep that there, but when you're using industrial use and it's budding residential, you're gonna have a 50-foot buffer, I thought. So what happens with that with this case?
If I may, we have the opinion of the building inspector is that this would constitute a continuation of contractor yard use, and we cannot go more. We cannot go. I forget if it's not 50 feet or more, or not more than 50 feet, into the RC zoning district with this use. However, so that larger building is proposed to extend 49 feet into the RC zoning district.
If I may address some of these things, that residential piece of property is actually grandfathered because there was a contractor's yard on it previously. Secondly, I don't know where you get your information, but the 300-foot buffer, the 100-foot buffer only works with the industrial zoning districts. That's the only place where you can enforce that, because it's not the use, it's the district.
Well, it seems to me that you're taking a Business West in a residential area, and we're trying with a master plan to help the town look good. So,
Well, if you have a grandfathered use, that trumps the master plan.
isn't that unfortunate?
I can't hear you.
Isn't that unfortunate?
Well, that's the way the state set up the laws.
I mean, the master plan isn't any, it's not a zoning bylaw or a regulation from the town.
No, but I have noticed when they've been writing them that they keep referring back to it to work with. But the other questions are that there's really not a lot of buffering going on, even though they're using 49 feet into the residential, because it's the driveway, right? So when you're coming in, you're leaving whoever lives at these other two families and such. What are they going to have for their buffering?
Well, the answer is that in the area of behind the proposed larger building, there's actually still existing tree line. If you look on that, would be part of it. But if you look on that landscaping plan, we have drawn in there with the scalloped dark green line, the existing tree line, and that's partly partly remaining there, I guess I should say, as a buffer between this use and the Del Greco lot to the south. We're also proposing, as I said, proposing plantings that the other primary focus besides trying to hide the backyard of the smaller building was separating this lot from the Del Greco lot with plantings along the border there. But I understand if the desire is to even do more, we understand.
Okay. All right, and then we haven't seen the pictures yet of the buildings, but is there no way they?
Can you see them now?
I can't see anything.
Okay.
Kathy,
I can still see
Kathy,
the site plan.
You'd have to
No.
stop this share and start your other share.
Okay, now, Dave, I just have a question for you before I go to this. It's in an email, it's not a separate PDF. So would I just stop share and then go to that email?
Yeah,
Or-
you'd have to share your whole screen to do that, but that's up to you. If you're careful with it, you can do that.
Are we
Okay,
done
let's-
discussing the site? Or are we going to switch to the building now, or?
Well, this is an overall picture of an aerial photo that Nick sent me.
Okay.
But I thought it was a PDF and it's not, it's a email. And so let me just see if I can get that.
I'll just say, if you look at Google Earth and you look at the view that would show you the trees, there are a lot on that end of the site. And I think, relative to Lisa's comment, if
Okay.
the
Can
tree
people see that?
line,
Oh, okay,
Is the picture up now?
yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to scroll through this. So this is well, actually, Nick, why don't you describe this as I scroll through it?
Well, that top photo is existing conditions at Del Greco's as we speak. To the left, the trees to the left, that's north towards 38 Southwest Cutoff. This is looking straight across Route 20 towards the Canvas Company.
The Canvas Company is right
Yep,
here.
Right, yeah. As you scroll down, this is a project that we just completed at 20 Pratt's Junction Road in Sterling. The building to the right is a 7,000 square foot building with the same footprint that we propose to do for our 7,000 square foot building. The building to the right, to the left is 4,000 square feet, just divided into 2 units. Currently, this project is completely leased out with 6 tenants. We have,
Nick, I think you should
Yep.
note that these buildings are different in that they have garage doors in the front,
oh yeah,
whereas the ones you're proposing here at 50 Southwest Cutoff only have them in the back.
correct. Yeah, the way our site worked in Sterling, we really couldn't put the doors in the back of the buildings, so they face the front, the road. We thought at 50 Southwest Cutoff, it would be better to put the doors, overhead doors, on the back of the building. This picture that we're looking at is one that we completed last year at 110 Pratt Junction Road in Sterling. This is a 4,200 square foot building. It's a single use, just one tenant. But we propose to do the similar type building, same color scheme, white with the dark green trim, same type of windows, and same type of overhead doors.
I just want to note, if you take a look at that, you just got a concrete apron going right up, no landscape around it. Coming from me, it just looked relatively better than trying to put a ton of plants around it.
You can see in these photos, we just have small landscape beds in front of these doors, minimal amount of mulch. I think it's probably about 5 foot by 10 foot, 5 to 6 little plants, shrubs in each one. Not much. More of the landscaping was done out towards the road. Don't really think you can see that on any of these photos. it
Nick,
doesn't
is
appear.
each roof going to be flat?
So these buildings that we did in Sterling have a single pitch roof with all the water going to the back of the buildings. In Northborough, we propose to do a double pitch, a gable style roof with it pitching both front and back. That way it allows us to get a little more trim detail on the buildings, so there'll be a little more color contrast, and it just wouldn't look like such a big box sitting there.
So you're going to do more to make it less of the box look, where you're going to have more moldings and trims like that, and
Correct.
like we had seen one that was done near 290 that was done with a lot of that detail. So when you come back the next time, you're going to have different materials and show us a different potential face to it, at least, that faces a street.
On these buildings, on the front elevation, we plan on doing a strip of vinyl siding on the bottom 4 feet of the front elevation to try to break up the front of these buildings.
And will you do more around the windows and doors, or just that's the only difference?
That would be the only difference.
Well, I am an artist. I'd like to see a little bit more to it, but I'll let the rest of you chat it out. I'm going to go sit back down at my desk. Thank you.
Okay, so I think the consensus is that looks like we have some more work to do on the site plan, especially regarding either hiding the building or through landscape or things that you could do with the building. Diane and Tom, since you're our architects, do you want to, do you think your message got across about the detail of the building, or do you want to go into more specifics now on the building?
Well, I would recommend that, like Nick's intent is to break up the elevations facing the southwest cutoff. So the larger building would be the front elevation, and the smaller building would be a gable end, not the front, because.
Correct.
So those were the two elevations we'd like to get some help with. I mean, the way the vinyl siding is shown on this front elevation doesn't make any sense. Why would you end it in the middle of a window? I would either go to the bottom of the window or the top of the window, or, I mean, like Dave was saying, there wasn't much thought to the site plan. There's not much thought to the buildings, because you're having a metal building company do the architecture. And, you know, they're just not, they're just selling a product. They're not really looking at how this is going to be viewed by our community. So we like Tim to give us a little help here on these gable on the small building and the front elevation of the big building. The other sides are less of a concern, but the public face, we'd like to have some consideration to the public and what they're seeing.
Tom, if I may, Tim Shea here. I think if you look at the existing site and ask yourself if these buildings we propose are an improvement, or if we should go with the buildings we have, what would be the answer?
Definitely an improvement, but we want you to keep going on those two elevations that face the street, face the road. I mean, this is definitely a big improvement over Del Greco's site. But I think Dave's recommendation is to move the plantings away from the building, because they're not going to survive. You know, put some crushed stone or something. They're just going to get trampled by contractors, and move them along the berm side of the southwest cutoff.
Okay, we understand that, that sentiment. It's obviously from multiple committee members.
Diane, do you have any more feedback on the design of the building?
Well, I guess I agree with what Tom said. I think that long facade, I know you're trying to break it up vertically. You know, of,
Oh, we're losing you, Diana.
sorry.
Diana, you're frozen. Is she frozen with everyone else?
Yes, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Barely. Okay. So just gonna up the door.
No, Diana, you're breaking up.
Okay.
It's all choppy.
Okay, I think we'll wait until Diana is having technical difficulties until she can come back on. Why don't we just, because obviously I think you guys are going to have to come back again. Are you going through the ZBA at the end of October? Is that where your board that's permitting it? Is it the ZBA or the planning board?
The ZBA, and it's the end of September that
The end
they're
of September.
scheduled for.
Okay,
They're scheduled for September 29th.
okay. All right. So since we have Dave here, Dave, do you want to talk a little bit? Everyone feel like they've gotten their message across about the landscape to come back with a different landscape design?
We understand that.
Okay. And then lighting, I think the fact about the lighting is that the board is already asked to come back with a little bit of changes with regards to your front and side elevations. And so do you have a lighting plan at all here?
We do, and we were trying to be as modest as possible with the lighting.
Okay.
Again, there's only 4 lights, one by the entrance, one at the very westmost bit of pavement. Behind the larger building, behind its, if you're standing in Route 20, the back left corner, way back there.
Okay.
One
behind
behind the smaller building, and one sort of in the area between them. Everything else is just wall packs on the fronts and backs of the building. So
do you have something showing the wall packs?
Yeah, well, we did have the spec on the lighting plan in the site plans.
What I don't have on the screen here for everybody is I didn't load up the application for tonight, which has the full set of site plans. So, but I'll do that for the next meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
the wall pack was there were eight of 2 different kinds, each of Lithonia lighting. It's 120 watt. Am I getting that right?
So that it is in the package that was emailed to everyone and mailed, but I just don't have it up. I don't have it ready out of my computer to put up here tonight.
Yeah, and just again to the same point again, trying to be just really to be modest with it. The lighting photometric plan was to show we're not going to have spillage over onto the other properties.
Okay.
Jim,
With regards to
Do we have a
sign,
plan that shows the pole lights?
Yes, they are shown on. Which plan is the best one?
In the site plan packet that was, I think both emailed and mailed to everyone. I think it should be in there.
I've been going through it. I see the wall packs on the photometric drawing, but I don't see the pole lights.
Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately, I agree. It's hard to pick out without it being in color.
mm,
But there is one immediately to the south, of the
James, is that
entrance
something
point.
you can have for the next meeting?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, Kathy.
The next thing is with signage. Is there any signage on the building?
Nick, you want to touch on that? I don't think there's any intention at this point to have anything besides the sign out by the road, which it's actually surrounded by plantings there, so it's hard to see, but it's just to the south side of that entrance.
Most likely it would just be signage on the actual front door of each tenant space.
Okay, but will there be a sign on the Southwest Cutoff that's just going to have the address? It's not going to, is it not going to list all your tenants, right?
No, we'll have a spot for each tenant name on the sign out at the street.
And
Okay.
where is that sign going? I don't see it on the site plan.
It's if you look right where it's on the, and just by the way, when Kathy switched to this view, all of a sudden my screen came alive. So, somehow. What's showing there right now, it's you see in the road, you see the station 99 plus 27.43.
Yeah.
If you look
Yeah.
just at the
Yeah.
edge of the site, beside that, you can see the word sign, and there's a, it's hard to see in the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see it.
It's buried. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your sign is going to be externally lit, and if you have 6 tenants, all 6 tenants will be listed on the sign as well as the address, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All righty. Does anyone have any feedback on the sign, or how about the colors? Are you doing anything other than white? Is it white in a different color, or is it just white?
White with like a hunter green as trim for the trim on the buildings. Dark green.
How about dark green buildings?
To complement your blue building?
No, to be blend into the trees in the background.
Oh,
Yeah.
the camouflage.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the blue building we just approved went to gray. It's now
Oh.
light gray.
That's right. We try to tone it down here.
Yeah.
Can you hear?
We can hear you,
How about
Diana. You're
camo?
back online?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're all choppy, Diana.
We'll have to get you feedback for the next meeting because you're really breaking up when you're speaking.
Okay.
Okay. Lisa or Dave, do you have any comments about the signage or the design colors? I mean, Tom Reardon just requested green, but
Or just bring your palette of colors that's available through the metal building manufacturer.
Yep.
Go with Tom, I'm good.
yeah.
Signage, where's a sample of what the sign looks like, what the lettering is, what the height is, what the stanchions are? Do we have one of those?
Not at this time, no.
Yeah.
Bringing that.
Well, he has to fill out there's a sign bylaw and there's specifics for each one. Are you asking for any variances or anything special about signage from the ZBA?
We don't anticipate asking for a variance.
Yeah, so you're gonna just have the normal, whatever everybody has along that street gets, that's what
Correct.
you'll do?
Yep.
Okay,
This, again, sort of to Michelle, to your and Tom's point about the nature of this business. This isn't something where you try and have flashing lights and attract people in that way. It's more like somebody's looking for the address. Where's 50? So, oh, there it is, and get them to turn. So we're not looking for a huge light or special lighting setup.
It's more of a directory sign, correct? With a
yeah,
Correct.
number of
It'll continue with the theme as with a lot of our other buildings in town. The one right next door at 38 Southwest Cutoff will be the same as that. 130 Main Street, similar to that.
so the one that you have next door, you have signs on the building, right? Where for each person who's inside your building, right? You're gonna do that. So if Joe's Paint is gonna be on this, one of your contractors, it would say on the directory, Joe's Paint, and then on the building, Joe's Paint, right?
Well, next door, we just recently had a tenant add a sign to the building. That's kind of a new thing.
Okay,
We didn't have signs on the building initially.
yeah, yeah. Do you know if they're going to be externally lit? Like, are they gonna be the light boxes, or are they gonna be like the gooseneck, lighting from above, if it's on the building?
It's on the building.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't anticipate much signage going on the building.
Oh, okay. So if you have like 4 tenants in the building and they each have a door to it, there's not gonna be a big sign above their side of the building?
Typically, they just put a vinyl graphic on their door, on the glass
Okay.
door into their unit.
Okay, I understand now. Okay. Yeah. So there'll be no signage on the building as far as advertising who's in the building? Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say who the tenant is and what they might want for signage at this point. We don't.
We don't
Obviously, they would-
anticipate it.
Yeah, we're not anticipating it.
Okay. Okay, so at the next meeting, it's
Can you-
primarily it's Kathy's gonna provide the signage or the light material, the information on the light to us for the next meeting, correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna, James will provide like a, just a colored, just a version that's easier for you to see, and we'll have it, up on the screen.
Okay,
Will do, Kathy.
and then signage, we've already discussed, but if there's anything you need to provide for us, if you could do that for the next meeting. It sounds like you've got a lot of work on landscape, and Dave Veron is our landscape person here, so I guess he's already given you feedback on him, and if you wanted to send something to Kathy to get Dave's feedback on prior to the meeting, I don't know if that's okay, but if you could help with that.
We'd love to do that, to try and make sure that everybody's, so that we're not going in the wrong direction in responding.
Okay. On the site plan with the position of the
Michelle, we're losing you too. It's all.
The board is okay with the positions of the buildings are. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like I'm on a Verizon commercial.
No, it just happened again too.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you, Diana, but we can't hear
Okay.
Michelle.
Okay. Can
I
I
think
just
they
make a
lost
few
me
quick
again.
comments?
Mm.
Can I
Hear
make
you.
a few comments? So just to go back to the elevation discussion quickly, I think green would be great. I think you can do something with the white if you add some more color or break up the facade some. My concern about the larger building and that facade, you don't know yet who the tenants are. If you're expecting 4, but if you have 2, then the facade's going to be broken up even less, correct?
Correct.
So then you're looking at like a really large sea of metal. So I think if you can look at that before the next meeting, that would be good, because I mean, you could break it up in ways besides the openings themselves. I know you have the horizontal band, but it's just, I think, going to look like a big white metal building right there on the southwest cutoff.
Okay.
All right, we'll look into it.
Thanks.
Do you have a source of mature trees you could plant along the road? Just a joke.
Okay. And then you're going to come back and you're going to sort of work on the building as Tom and Diana gave you recommendations for, and present some different ideas to us at the next meeting.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
so I think we're all set.
So Michelle, we just have to figure out a next meeting
Yeah.
for the design review committee. You know, I don't, I think from the emails a month or so ago, people were good with switching to an evening meeting. Or do you want to switch, you know, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not as, we had to definitely pick a date tonight to continue this discussion to. And then it's subject to, you know, that I have an available license and a host for the meeting.
Okay.
And this applicant is before the zoning board of appeals on the 29th. So I don't know if it's something that you want to try to meet, you know, again in a week, or I don't even know if that's possible for the applicant.
Evenings work for me.
I can do an evening.
Evenings work for me.
That's fine.
Will the applicant on the 23rd?
Michelle, I'm going to make a recommendation. You should stop your video. I think you're having bandwidth issues. And if you stop your video, your audio will come through much better.
Okay, hold on.
And how do you do that, Dave?
If you look down, if
Oh,
you,
yeah, I see.
if you move your all the way down to bottom, you can just click where it says stop video.
I see that. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So can we ask the applicant, does the 23rd work for you next week?
Sure.
Do you have
I
everything
think
that
we
we're
can,
looking for?
I think we can make the inquiries on the building side about how we might break up the color especially, and add some more, something more to the eye there. And we can review the landscaping and get some, essentially shift the focus out to Route 20 in that time, yeah.
I have another Zoom meeting on the 23rd, so I wouldn't be available.
How about the 24th?
What about the
24th, yes.
Sure.
24th works for me.
24th doesn't work for me.
Okay.
No go on the 24th.
Okay. Do you think this would be approved right away by the ZBA, or are you going to have two hearings?
That's hard to say, seeing as it's so much up to the ZBA, and I don't think there are any technical issues with the proposal, the grades and drainage and septic and everything as far as zoning. So I think it's possible to be through in one, but as Kathy might tell you, you can't anticipate what the ZBA or planning board may do.
Hmm. What about the 22nd? Is that too early?
The 22nd is a ZBA's meeting twice.
Okay.
This month, they're meeting on the 22nd and the 29th. And I have meetings on the 21st and the 28th also. So if we looked at, what if we did it earlier on the 23rd? Tom, I don't want to jam up your schedule, but is it possible if we met at 5 o'clock? I don't know if that helps or not, Tom.
I don't have a confirmed time yet. I was just told to reserve the evening. So, because there's many people they're trying to coordinate.
Well, our only other choice would be to go out the following week or the week of October 5th. Look at possibly like October 7th. How does that work for everyone?
Works for me.
7th works for me.
I'm good on 7.
And Lisa? Did we lose her? I think we lost.
She's,
her.
I see a thumbs up.
Okay, 7th is good for Lisa. Okay.
And
So-
Kathy, the license is open on that date as well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you. So with the applicant, I guess you'll be going to the ZBA at the end of September, and we'll be back to meet with you on October 7th.
Okay, we
Okay.
obviously, we want the earliest we can, but reasonably can, but, and that sounds like that's it, so.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your
appreciate
time.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay. So leaving this meeting is the 50 Southwest Cutoff, and we will bring in now 399 Hudson Street, which we have Ken Bishop, is that right?
No, Ken Bishop was from Maytech.
Maytech. Okay.
So you have Peter Bemis
Yep.
and Peter Boutro. I'm not sure if I said that correctly.
Okay.
Bill, William, Bill.
Oh, Bill, sorry, Bill.
No, and I have to recuse myself because I
Okay.
have a contractual relationship pending with another organization that Bill's involved with.
Okay.
So I will mute myself and listen.
Okay. All right. So we just have Peter, and is there anyone else joining for 399 Hudson Street?
I brought in someone with the last 3 digits of 148.
Who is 148? Could you identify yourself?
It's probably Bill Poutre. I know he's been on hold, as I
Okay.
was on the phone as well, but I had my Zoom up too. I'll just
Oh, he
text
just
him.
came on. Yeah. Bill, is that you on the 148?
Probably not sure how to unmute himself. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to text him.
Okay. And so Kathy, you're gonna bring up the drawings for that?
Yeah.
Hi. So are you 148 extension? You're okay. You're in, but you're probably staying on mute. All right. Well, why don't I'll stay on the phone if you have something you want to raise, and then we'll just try to advance this. Okay. All right. So I have Bill on my cell phone.
Okay.
And he is the 148, so I think he can hear us, but he's unable to unmute himself at the moment.
Okay. All right, well, we're all set and you can
Great.
start presenting.
Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, let's start with the site plan. We're on Hudson Street. The address number is 399, and the proposal is a duplex on a 30,000 square foot lot. Soil absorption systems have been approved by the Board of Health. We did that view will work. So as you can see there, that's a contact unit.
I can go bigger, Peter. I mean, tell me
That's,
when you want
yeah,
to
I think
zoom
that's
in.
better. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do that. So off to the right is the plan. The lot is on the north side of the Hudson Street. And again, soil absorption systems for each of the units are approved. And this proposal, the way it's drawn, has the driveway across the front coming in as one larger area. You can see that we did suggest coming in with a single driveway and then circulating through. Kath had brought up an exhibit that Fred had come back with, and I'm open to that as well. The rotation's a little different than our site plan currently, the way Kath has it, but you can see the two lengths of the driveway coming in. It just feels better than being one larger opening at Hudson Street from our perspective. And then we'll have turnouts on either side for each garage. The stormwater management. So as I was saying, the entire site will be infiltrated. Roof water is collected, will be put into an infiltrator system. And then the driveway will also be collected. It will be treated, and then it will be infiltrated to the ground. So those details are there to the left side of the sheet. On the right side is a zoning recap for the project. And the site is allowed 4,500 square feet of impervious area to direct discharge. We're trying to infiltrate 100% of it. The small tails of each driveway that come out to Hudson Street would not be captured, but the proposal does infiltrate almost 100% of the stormwater for the site, even though more than half of it could direct discharge by your zoning bylaw. The architectural plan, did that one come in, Kath?
Let me, oh, that's not you. I don't think that's you. No,
No, it's not.
that's not you. I have,
And then there was a photo. The photo could work, the one that I sent this afternoon that was suggested that we provide. But do you have
yeah,
that?
let me, keep talking. Let me find it.
Okay. So architecturally, it's kind of a craftsman style duplex. It's got a great street appearance. That the residence is actually being constructed right now in Southborough at 28 Boston Road, and they put up 2 of those on the same property, and then they did 2 singles next to it. So it's basically 6 units on a property near St. Anne's Church. And the units are 3 bedrooms each. They have some appointments in them that I think are going to be attractive for at-home folks, which seems to be what everybody's looking for today in that marketplace. They have the ability to have an office, exercise room, that sort of thing. But it's a good looking plan, and we did provide a picture today as well to show you what that looks like built. Did you get to find it, Kath? There we go. Great.
Okay.
There are architectural plans that accompanied this and were part of your packets, no doubt.
And I don't have those up on the screen, but everybody does have those, Peter.
Okay, great. So you can see there's a 2-car garage entry. It has a nice feel to it. The layout of the units is quite nice inside as well. So I'd be happy to answer any specific questions, and I'll just check with Bill to make sure he doesn't have anything he wants to add while you come up with your questions. You're hearing me okay, right, Bill? Bill?
Peter, I do hear you, Peter. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay, good. All right, so now you're in. So I'm going to hang up on the cell phone.
Okay.
All right, good. Do you want to add anything, Bill?
No, I think you did a good job. Thank you.
All right. So members, any questions? We are before the Zoning Board of Appeals and we're before the Planning Board in the coming weeks.
Okay, so if we could hear back, so why don't we go through the list as far as, it's a little different with duplexes. We don't really have we haven't done our, or completed our duplex design standards yet. But we can ask the questions with regards to how it's positioned on the site, the colors, the lighting, and landscaping. So why don't we just at least start with how the board feels about I mean, I think it's a very striking and it looks great. How the board feels about the look of the building.
I think it's so helpful to have the picture because that sort of spells it out for us. I do think that architecturally it looks nice. I don't have,
You want me to go back to that picture?
sure. I'm just wondering, the garage doors look.
Is the picture back on?
No.
No.
All right, let me,
Back
Yeah.
to video.
I'm going to recommend the other presenter, 148. I'm going to have to put you on mute because there's a lot of background that keeps coming up with you. So, and when you need to
Okay.
speak, just come off mute. Okay.
Thanks, Kathy.
okay,
I guess,
so it is back on.
okay, I was just gonna say, this is a small thing.
Diane, we've lost you again.
Okay, you can't hear me now.
Oh,
No, now
you're
we
back.
can.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the garage doors look different. So is that something that is intentional, or are they gonna be, they're just different for, are there any reasons why they're different, or? I don't
From
know.
the architectural, I mean, they're carriage house doors. So, and I anticipate they'll be doing carriage house doors because that's in keeping of the craftsman style that we're trying to
Okay.
achieve here.
Well, on the drawings we have, they don't look like that.
Okay. I would anticipate something substantially similar to this. I mean, if you prefer the ones on the architectural to this, I don't think anyone's going to be that disappointed. I think that if you look closely, it ties in quite well with the front door windows. It has that same punch window
Yeah.
effect.
I like the ones in the photo better. I don't love the way the windows are laid out on them, but that's okay.
But you know, there's different styles. You know, I know there's some that are just like a single going straight across versus these doubles.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we could look at different garage door patterns. I'm sure the builder would be open to that.
But overall, I think that, you know, the proportions and the material layout looks attractive. And I think, you know, if it's going to be substantially similar, I don't have much else to say, or I don't have any concerns.
Thank you. And Lisa or Tom, do you have any feedback?
Tom can't.
Can you hear me all right?
Barely.
Oh my God, I'm like right on top of the computer. All right, I like it as well. I think it's a nice look, and I think that I agree with Diana. I'd almost like to see the doors. The garage doors seem to take away from the rest of the look being so white. I love the color of the door going into the condo itself. Maybe they could be a darker color as opposed to the white, but all in all, it's a nice looking building.
Dave?
I like it. I guess my only thing, I have a question with the windows. Was it 6/6 there? Are those like Anderson within the glass, the 6/6, or is it external?
Those are not true divided light. Those are your traditional storm window with the grids inside, in between the beams.
Yeah, because I see it with the reflection.
Mhm.
Again, personal taste. I like it on the out, the actual, where it's not inside, so you actually see the texture. But again, personal flavor. But I think it looks great.
Thank you.
So I agree. I think it's a nice design and a nice look. Is there only one driveway going in, or is there one shared driveway?
Yeah, this project here, this is a loop project, and there are 6 total units. The one for 399, we'd like to do a circular driveway, if you will, so there'd be 2 entry points. It just looks and it feels better. There'll be a nice grass island in the front of the building. So that gives us the opportunity to have some separation instead of just having a driveway going straight into the house.
Right.
So if Fred and I were kind of going back and forth with some things, but unfortunately for timing, I didn't get to communicate with him until today. But we would probably be following the purple line, if you will, that's on here that Fred added versus the yellow. So we follow the green as it goes around the house, but then you would track the purple line, goes back to green out to Hudson Street, and track green back, but then go to purple. So you can see that we're pulling the driveway further away from Hudson Street.
Right.
But Peter, I think we need to clarify that, because I think Fred's, and if anybody can pull up the email that I sent you that came from Fred.
I have it, Kath. I don't mind reading it to you if you need to.
Okay, because isn't he talking about this?
Well, so Fred said one or the other. I mean, he had said the single driveway, but let me just read it. I'll
Okay.
use his words. Okay. So attached is the sketch we spoke. This is hello, Peter. Attached is the sketch we spoke about. The yellow line was my original thought, with one point of access onto Hudson Street, and the purple line is the second option. I realize we do not have any regulations preventing people from having 2 driveway openings, but I always prefer a single driveway opening if people are not required to back out onto a public way. I'm sending this email to Kathy Joubert, who will be sharing my thoughts with the design review committee this evening. Fred. And I just said to Fred that I did speak with the builder. He felt pretty strongly that he'd like to have a circular driveway, and he'd like to have that ability to have this entry, from the street that's kind of coming from the 2 sides and having that green space there.
Okay.
It just feels better to us. I think it'll be much more attractive at the end of the day.
And with these backups.
Right. So if you look at the yellow, they'd be these really long backups coming off of the center driveway, whereas they'll just feather in nicer to the single driveways on either side.
And this will be grass.
Yes, it would be, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so we net out about the same effect. Actually, this is less, no matter what, it's less pavement than what was already run on the original plan, which our drainage calculations were based upon. And then in these 2 scenarios, you end up with less asphalt proportionally. I'd say that they're probably quite equal.
I have to think the purple line, the green to the purple line does look better. Just from a landscape architecture point of view, it's more visually appealing.
Thank you. What we can do with this too is it gives us a chance to maybe look at some stormwater patterns, and we can maybe do some natural drainage through there instead of having all these structures. So I'll look at that as well with Fred. It gives us some time between the next meeting with the zoning board.
So Michelle, just to outline, this is before the ZBA. This is one of the only second application that is caught between 2 boards, and that I said we'll fix at town meeting this next year. But the applicant has to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which he is doing on September 29th. And then he has to go to the planning board for the special permit for the duplex, and that will be on October 6th.
And we're meeting on October 7th.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like everyone is good with the design of the duplex and is good with this sketch that Peter and Fred have talked about. And maybe there's just a way to memorialize that in a memo, as opposed to having the applicant come back to you.
I'm okay with that, because I mean, the lighting on your building looked fine. Everything else is And like we said, our design standards really haven't been completed yet, so we're very limited on what we can ask a applicant for a duplex. So I don't know how the board feels, but basically you seem to have the appropriate lighting of what you showed in your photo. I like Dave, where your driveway is with the purple. Lisa can weigh in on that. And then it seems like all three of us, and she agrees as well. And it seems like all three of us agree with the site of the, building and how the building looks, as well as Diana. Did we lose Diana? We might have lost Diana. I'm not seeing her on here anymore.
Yes, we did. She dropped out.
Yep. But Diana liked the site of the way the building was designed. So I agree with you. If you wanted to, I don't know how the other two board members feel, if you want to put a letter together so that you have something to present to the ZBA on the 29th, and then again to the planning board on the 6th.
Or
Lisa agrees, and then Dave agrees as well.
Okay, well, I thank
Okay,
you for your
so-
support very much. We'd like to keep the project moving ahead. They'd like to start construction this building season, so thank you.
Yeah, and just a quick question on the colors. Were they going to be the same colors that you showed in the photo? The gray?
I suspect, but I certainly would say they're going to be earth tones. And I think the suggestion that Diana had made relative to the doors, I mean, I'll bring that to the builder's attention. He definitely wants this to be an upscale project. He likes this opportunity to do these duplexes. It gives you a nice mix of your home opportunities in the community. So.
Okay, we just want to make sure we don't drive by and see a pink house there.
I can assure you that this builder would not do a pink house.
Okay, good.
or a purple door, or
Yeah, none of that. I know Mr. Federico was on at 1.2, and he knows I'll have to be before him again. So I'll assure you, and he'll make sure that I follow that statement.
So maybe Kathy, since he has not chosen the colors, there's some language in there you could put in there of how the engineer just said he was gonna choose
The
some
earth-
earth tone colors.
Sure, the earth tones, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And I don't mind running it by CAF too. That's fine by me.
Okay. And then we really don't have much to do as far as landscape on this project. So.
Again, if I had known I had to do something detailed, I would have, but I'd say to you again that this builder will do a very nice job. And
Yeah.
actually with a circular driveway, it gives a great opportunity to do something in that front pocket. I just think it just screams for some landscaping through there. So
Yeah.
I can assure you, you'll drive by and be impressed with this project.
Okay.
Thank
Yep.
you.
All right. So Kathy, I think we're all set with this applicant, and
Yes, yeah.
good luck and congratulations. And you're now moving on to the ZBA and the planning board.
Yes. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nick.
So Michelle, just before you close out tonight, I don't have, I owe you minutes from I think like 3 meetings. But I just wanted to, we've talked about the duplex design guidelines tonight. And if it works with you, because we just have one applicant on the 7th, I'd like to see if Judy Barrett could have a draft to you. I know she has a draft, and I know photos have been the big hang up. I think we should add this photo, wherever that came from. Tom, I think, knows where that house is. But I'd like to see if I could get Judy, in to talk to you on the 7th. Because I think we've got 2 meetings scheduled, one to talk about the draft and then one to talk about the final. So, we know this project has been like in fits and starts, but she's committed to doing it this fall, to finishing it this fall. So does that work out all right? If that's okay, I have no idea what her schedule is. I did not check with her today. Can I, proceed to see if she's available on the 7th?
I think it's a good idea.
That'd be good.
Do you think she has some time on her hands?
Yeah, I
So-
wouldn't want to be her. I wouldn't want to be her appointment book.
Left or photos? Is that all? You do's and don't kind of photos?
Yeah, that's what she's telling me. It has been the hang up. I mean, I
Well,
know it's a very small project for a consultant, and I know that that's, the bigger picture. There have been things that have, unfortunately pushed our project, to the bottom. But she has recommitted, and when I last talked to her, which was probably just about a month or so ago, that's what she was putting together, was the photos.
So if there's photos she's missing or she's looking for, like do's and don'ts,
Sure,
give it
send
some
them.
guidance, and I can find a lot of don'ts.
Sure, send them, Tom. We just can't use ones, examples from this town.
Yeah.
Can we just go online? Google it.
Yeah, I know. She did say that would be that's one method to do it, but she has gone and taken some photographs, I know, in her area of Massachusetts, but I haven't seen the photos yet.
Good.
But I will check with her tomorrow and see if the 7th works, and then if not, I'll just send out an email and see if we can come up with it, if we have to come up with a separate meeting for Judy.
Can I tell you one pet peeve I have about those garage doors off the record?
The vinyl.
Right. When you show a carriage door with hinges and handles, but it's an upward acting door, it's a lie. It's not swinging out.
I think it looks.
And it's not Craftsman style, believe me.
The rest of the house isn't, yeah.
I was gonna actually ask for wooden doors, but I know like you can't ask for granite or this or that, so.
Well, truth in building, right, Bob? Truth in building.
You know what they say, art is anything you can get away with.
Well, they say
Kathy.
you can tell an architect's involved when
on
they have
the,
weird windows.
Go ahead, Michelle, I'm sorry.
Next, we have our 2021 meeting schedule. And that's,
Yeah, so I didn't know if you wanted to, because we're switching to a night, and the nights are, everyone meets at night. So what I thought maybe, we could lock in a once a month meeting, and in that way I can reserve the license and a host. And then if we don't need it, you wouldn't meet. I don't know how people feel about that.
sounds good.
So what's available, like I said, every Monday and Tuesday are booked here in the town hall. So we'd be looking at either a Wednesday or a Thursday. So I don't know if people, if you have a preference.
Wednesday nights are probably gonna be my best nights, just with dealing with my son and.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then-
I agree. Wednesday's good for me.
And I think, Diana in general was saying, or at least that particular Wednesday was good. So how about, again, anyone care? I mean, I'll just speak selfishly for Michelle, Bob, and I. We've got planning board. We've got planning board on, the first week and the third week, and then ZBA on the fourth week. So if we looked at the second Wednesday of every month.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
And Lisa, does Wednesdays are okay with you? Okay, thumbs up with Lisa. That's
Okay.
good.
All right, so I'll get us on the schedule for that. I know Bob has to go. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye,
I'll
Bob.
see you
Thank
Friday,
you.
Bob.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bob.
Bye, Bob.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right, so I'll get back to everybody when I hear back from Judy, which should be tomorrow. And then I'll get us logged into, we'll meet on October 6th, but then I'll get us logged into the second Wednesday of the month.
And
Okay.
then for the next, those 4 months of snow, I have my standard, if it snows, I'm toast.
Yeah.
No
You
excuse.
can always zoom into the meeting from your snowmobile there.
I'll put it right in the truck.
That is no excuse. Now you can attend them because
Right.
you
Yeah,
can
kids
come
have
by
no more
Zoom
snow
from your
days.
truck.
That's it. No more snow days.
No more. We expect you at every meeting now. Okay. Hopefully we can figure out Diana's technical difficulties at the next meeting. I think we're all set and we can adjourn from tonight's meeting. Yep.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Well done.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody. Thanks,
Ciao.
Dave.
Yeah.
How do you log off?
Okay, down in the lower right-hand corner,